Hello, welcome to Untracing Trauma with your host JeGaysus and our very special guest Christine Kominek. How do you say your last name?
Yeah, Kominek.
Was that right? Christine
Yeah.
Kominek. Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, I'm just gonna go give a quick little rundown or like trigger warning, what have you. This is Untracing Trauma, a show where we talk about religious trauma or abuse or pretty much anything that I guess people have held on to throughout their lives and how they worked to undo that. As part of the deconstruction journey, I think it's important to share different stories, and that way people can see bits and pieces of themselves in other people's stories and see like, oh, I can do this too. I can apply this to my life. That and people are just mad interesting. And I have some really cool mutuals on TikTok that I get to invite and have conversations with. Outside of that, I did want to say a shout out to my patrons because I forget to do this sometimes and then I try to put it in the description. So let's just run through. Thank you to my disciples specifically. My disciples are Bart, Adele, Amy, Anna R, Anna S, Arget, Candy B, Carol, Claire W, Claire G, Gina, Garth Barbie, Heather, Jubilee, Kat, Katie, Mary, Modern Day Masquerade, Samantha, Shannon, Sir Kitten, and Avocado Toast, Abigail O, and as of a couple minutes ago, Cousin Jake. So thank you all for your support. We are growing a Discord community. If you want to join us in there, we can debate and chat and talk about my videos, deeper subjects, life, what have you. You can join in the link in my bio. And outside of that, I think we're pretty much ready to roll. I do also want to say, if you're listening to this in podcast form on Spotify or Apple, the other places, please rate and review. Stick around for the episode. I know people fall off in the first 5 minutes, but I hope you enjoy it. And I will think of something I totally forgot to say and beat myself up for it later. So here we go. I'm introducing Christine Kominek, formerly Christine Varner. Some of you may recognize her from Big Brother season 16, correct? 16?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where I know you from, and I totally fangirled when I saw you on TikTok and you started following me back, and I was like, help me, help. I told my mother, I called her, it was a whole thing. I swear to God.
I love that. I was fangirling that you were following me. I was like, good Jesus.
Merch and bio, by the way. That's one thing I forgot. There you go.
I love
I have a
that.
merch shelf on YouTube now, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Okay, so tell us about yourself. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? What's your darkest fears? What's your address? Go.
Oh, I don't even have fears anymore.
Ooh, wow.
I'm Christine. I'm born and raised Tucson, Arizona. I don't have I've had a very long life, to be honest.
Mm,
And it most of it started after Big Brother. Well, religious trauma mostly in the beginning, and then after Big Brother, the world's a mean place. So I have seen everything, I've heard everything, and that really triggered me becoming who I am now, which is nice.
okay, well, see, building blocks. You started at the bottom, now you're here.
Hell yeah.
Watch me be demonetized, being like, that's copywritten music.
Oh,
Because I said it so good, you couldn't even tell.
it was
I'm like giddy. I think I'm nervous. I don't know what's happening. Okay. So let's roll that back. So you were raised religious. Is that
yes,
correct?
like
Okay.
yeah, like
So what kind of religious?
my family and my siblings were in a local cult actually until I was born.
Oh my gosh, another cult one. Okay, go.
Yes,
So
and I
interesting.
used to call myself the Jesus of my family because they got out of the cult when I was born, which is funny.
That's why we relate. Okay.
Yes, exactly. And
Okay.
then after that, we were just non-denominational, but coming from a cult, you don't just lose it all. So we were
No.
very strict,
Right.
non-denominational. We just happen to have a TV now, a radio, and I could wear pants.
Okay.
That was the difference.
Okay, so when you say that you were in a cult, okay, so Christian cult, right? We're establishing that. Was there like a denomination that it would be close to that like people would be like, okay, was it plain clothes? Was it fundamentalist? What
Yeah, there was
doomsday?
there was like a specific prophet named William Branham. I don't know if you've heard of him, but yeah, so
No.
it was a specific prophet that they followed. And it was no TV, no radio, no holidays, no, the women had to wear dresses. They couldn't cut their hair. The men had to cut their hair. It was very strict. And my parents and their kids went to school there. My siblings, before I was born, they went to school there. My mom worked there, and
Wow.
they
So it was
were
like its
there
own little
all the time.
community. It wasn't
Yes.
wow.
Hmm.
Okay, and then when you were born, that's when they left?
Yeah, thank goodness my uncle got him in and my uncle got him out. So they were in
Okay.
for about 10 years. And then a couple months after I was born, they got out and started going to a non-denominational church.
Oh, wow. Okay. So yeah, I'm assuming that that's a really hard way to be raised in terms of having parents where their entire skill set is built around this cult lifestyle. Um
Yes.
so what was that like? Tell me about your childhood. Oh Lord.
It was it's so funny because my sister's 10 years older than me, and so she had way more strict growing up. So she thought that my mom was like raising me to be a wild child because I could perm my hair. In fifth
Oh.
grade, I colored my hair. So my sister was very jealous of me my whole life growing up, which was not good. But to me, it was so strict because
Right.
I went to church all the time. I had to, pray every single time. I ate and went to bed, and everything revolved around Jesus. Everything revolved around church, God. There's no explanations for anything other than God. It's like you never got to get critical thinking almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So here you are thinking like this is the most oppressive system I could be raised in. And then your sister's like, you don't understand how bad it was for me.
Yes,
I could see
literally.
that causing
And
drama.
oh god, it was bad. And also I got divorced when I was 25, and she doesn't come to family events anymore cuz I'm there. She completely the yeah, ixnayed me, and so
What?
and
What?
yeah, I
Okay.
know it's
You're jumping ahead.
I
But I
know
love
it's
it.
weird.
Okay.
But it's my
She
sister
wait, so
like
she doesn't
yeah.
want to be friends with you because of the divorce?
Oh, she doesn't want to correlate with me, and she's mad at my family for still being friends with me and seeing with me because I was a bad Christian because I got divorced. And
Wow.
then she told me, she goes, if you come out as atheist to the family, then I'll start coming to events again because you're a fake. So then I came out as atheist to my family, and then she
Yeah.
still doesn't come because now I'm a bad influence for her kids. I'm like,
She sounds like
okay.
a gym. I want to hang
Oh,
out with her.
she's
What a
so
fun
sweet.
time. Wow. Okay. So,
Anyways,
obviously,
that
I'm
being
starting to
said,
get a
not
feel
much
for the
was
family
lost.
dynamic, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. So, I don't know personally, I don't know like anything that my brother could do short of like raping or killing someone. I don't know if we're 3 minutes in, but oh, we're good.
Yeah,
That would make me like not want to be around him. You know what I mean? But like
yeah,
yeah, that's harsh. Good for her sticking to her convictions and like throwing
yeah.
family out over those stupidest things. But
Serious.
gee, oh, okay, let's roll back.
Yeah,
So
my
here you
bad.
are in childhood. You're being raised under these strict guidelines. What I guess the question I would have for you is like, were you always in it? Were you like, was your heart in it, or were you more trying to please your parents, or was there like I don't want to say a breaking point because obviously there was. We'll get
There
to it.
was.
A breaking point where
Yeah.
you decided to leave the religion. But in your like teens, in your younger years, were you really there, or are you just like wanting to escape? I think that's a different balance.
I no, I was in it
You were in it.
to win it. I was so in it. I believed it so heavily. I was known as like the untouchable through high school and college because I never even made out with a boy till I was 18. I didn't
Oh,
have
okay.
sex till at my wedding. Like, so I was like, and I fully believed it. That wasn't even me. Like, I was a judgmental
Uh oh.
Christian butthole. I
Uh
really was.
oh.
I hate old me, but I was in it all right. So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I was in it.
So as you're going through this, you would have. I don't want to like put words in your mouth, but you would have been the ones who were like, like there's a gay over there. Like you were the ones who were like, look at that blasphemous gay, like that kind of person?
Actually, so one of the reasons my sister really disliked me for a long time was because there were two things that I never understood with religion, and it was hating gay people and being pro-life. So I've personally never been pro-life,
Mm,
and I've never been against gay people. That's something I've actually always fought for. I don't know if maybe, because in middle school I had gay friends, and I would think like there's no way the God you're teaching me about hates these people.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, those are the
that's
2,
good.
but
Okay.
if you were a girl in a bikini on Instagram, I was like, "You slutty, you're never gonna have a good husband," like, you know what I mean? So, I was judgmental towards everyone else.
I like that. That's actually a positive in a way, in a really weird,
Yeah.
dark way. What I think that's interesting that you said that though. So was that your personal conviction, or was that also the church, the non-denominational church you went to? Did
No,
they
it was
teach gay was
my
okay? Gay was okay?
no, 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 no. So,
That was you.
that was me, and my one
Okay.
of my brothers is 5 years older. I think he actually was a big moving point, and he was always the one coming home with more liberal ideals from high school and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's the one who taught me about the difference between black people and white people and the struggles, that everyone I knew wanted to ignore. That gay is okay. He always came
Mhm.
up, and my mom would get so mad at him for talking about these things, especially in front of
Oh,
impressionable little
I was
me,
gonna say
you know?
indoctrinating the youth, the gay agenda at
Yes.
work, everybody. Look at how it spreads like a
Exactly.
disease.
Yep, it was
Um
public school.
Oh, for the audio listeners, if you couldn't tell, I made a face like it was gross. Okay, thank you. Oh, also, I did remember what I was gonna say. We're gonna have Q&As at the end, so if we do have
Oh,
questions, like, put
fun.
them in your head, drop them in the chat. If you send a super chat, they're gonna be starred, and I will see those. Thank you if you do that. You don't have to. We'll still answer other questions. But, the chat is here. We are live, so I do wanna make sure that you guys are recognized, and, like, I see your comments. I see them, but we're gonna roll with the conversation until the end. Um I always need to say that up front. I forget. So that's,
Yeah.
I think, an interesting point because I feel like it's a reoccurring theme with a lot of my guests, and probably because I'm gay and I attract those people. So, like the people who are, okay with gayness.
Yeah.
um, I don't attract the gay ones, unfortunately, but the people who are okay with it. Um, and the reoccurring theme that I've seen, and it's probably the thing that kicks evangelicalism in its ass, is the fact that it's so, like, the dichotomy of it and like the cognitive dissonance that goes into hating a group of people for no reason is really
Yeah.
hard, especially for people who are good-willed and they're just going to church because they want to love and they want to spread this love and this like life of Jesus, and then they're told to
Yeah.
hate somebody and they're like, why? And I think that's where so many deconstruction journeys start, is that disconnect
Yes.
right there. And so I good for you on your convictions of seeing that. And then they did it to themselves. Like they keep on asking, why are church attendance down? Because you don't make no
Oh,
damn sense. You're doing it to yourself.
God. I don't understand how they are confused, but whatever.
So in high school, you're loving the gays, you're like, let's go. Um, pro-choice.
Yeah.
Where do you start separating, I guess? Is this like in a college thing? Let's talk about your first doubting or questioning moments. Or
What?
actually, it might
Oh,
be better to start before that. While you're in the church, was there anything that you want to address in terms of like, I don't want to say like crimes done against you, but were there things where
right.
you were made to feel like you were dirty for being a
Oh,
woman? Were there things like,
oh,
talk about the trauma part? I forgot where we're just gonna skip straight
oh,
to
yeah.
deconstruction. No, let's talk
Which
about the
is
trauma.
boring. Just kidding.
Yes. How was
Um,
your teenage years and your time in church? And was there like abuse that you'd like to call out now?
yeah. One of the main things that I was always raised with is women are less than, period.
Mm,
My mom thinks women working ruined America. That's my
mm,
favorite quote. And I was to be less than in a marriage. I was to be less than in absolutely everything. And so I get married, and it's an abusive marriage. And I would go to the
mm,
pastor to get counseling, And it was so frustrating because it was always all of his triggers were my fault. It was my fault because I was shutting down, which made him yell, you know. It was my fault for absolutely everything. And
How old were you
oh,
when you got married?
20.
20. Okay. Not too
Terrible.
young, but not a solid adult.
Yeah, yeah, definitely too young, in my opinion.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
just
like
kidding.
I've
No,
talked to people, you know, who are
I knew
like
what you meant.
16, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I did wait a little bit,
That's good.
considering.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so, and how much older was your husband? Were you about the same age?
Oh, yeah, he was 2 months older than me.
Okay, good to know. I think
Yeah.
these are good foundations we need to establish first, because
That's very
sometimes
true.
there's
You
other things.
never
So
know.
he was abusive. I'm sorry to hear that. And you go to the pastor for counseling, for marriage counseling, for advice, and they're like, "Well, have you tried being more docile? Have
Yes.
you slept with him enough this week? Maybe he's frustrated." It was that kind of.
You know, what's interesting about the sex part is I had, and I didn't know this until after I got divorced. I had vaginismus, and it was so extremely painful to have that sex. And
Wow,
this happens a lot with women who wait until marriage because we
really?
are told, yes. Oh God, I wish I could spread this info more.
Spread it
What
right
happens
now. I've
is,
never
I
even heard
know.
of the condition. I have no
See, oh my
vagina,
God.
and I don't interact with them a lot, so this is news to
Yeah.
me.
What happens is you get told your whole life to turn off your sexual desire, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, that you don't even realize it's subconscious, but you can't turn it back on. So now it's your wedding day and you're supposed to all of a sudden be having
Just
sex,
be in there, yeah.
just be in there. And it is excruciatingly painful.
I've heard that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's all subconscious. And oh my God, I
But I didn't
spent the
know it was
whole
a
5
thing
years.
more for people who wait than it
Yeah.
was for not. I thought it was just always painful. Not always. Okay, we're sex positive here. It's not always painful your first time, people. It shouldn't be. It
Yeah.
can be. It
It can
can
be.
be. But if you are open to having a partner that knows how to work with you and takes their time, it shouldn't be painful. But we all understand first times for everyone's kind of just like figuring it out. So no shame in that game, but try
No
to make
shame.
it pleasant if you can.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was more, so I guess it would make
Yeah.
sense, especially if there wasn't a lot of like toys or masturbation prior to, not a lot of
I
motion going
maybe
on. Oh,
I maybe did that more than the average, and that is something that I had to call myself out for at college group all the
no.
time in high school.
In
Listen,
public, were you the one that who's like, this week I touched myself?
yes, and
No.
then the other girls would
I
be like,
never admitted it. I was like, I don't do
I
that.
I've always been truthful to a fault. I'm telling you. Because the other girls would be like, I gossiped about Becky this week. And I'd be like, I watched like really kinky porn. You know?
Ah, go
Yeah, I
there.
didn't tell
Okay.
them that much. Um, and that's the thing. Listen, I have been so sexual my whole life, like really deep down inside that I have 2 brothers. My mom found porn on the computer and knew it was me. She knew it was me
Wow,
immediately. I've
really?
always been the sexually deprived one, and she could always tell. It's so funny.
That is funny. I'm like, I don't know. I'm the opposite because like I'm on the asexual spectrum, but like, still in the porn world for sure because
Yeah.
I don't have to touch them. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not sex adverse. It's not like that.
It's entertaining still, nonetheless.
It's still fun to watch,
It
especially
is.
the overdramatic noises. Oh God, the only reason I ever watch straight porn is for the ridiculous noises that come out of women. Uh,
I don't even watch straight porn very often. Anyways.
We could do a whole episode just on that. Let's talk about it. Just go through our favorites, a Rolodex.
Yes.
Here, everyone, we're gonna screen share on YouTube. Ooh, maybe we found a new Patreon show.
That
Maybe
actually sounds fun. I'm not gonna lie. Ooh, that's
Okay,
awesome.
so here you are back to counseling. Sorry,
Oh
your
yeah.
pastor blaming
Oh.
everything on you, and you're here internalizing this information, taking it as
Oh
if
yeah.
because I'm sure based on your religious environment, you actually took that to heart. You probably were actually being like, "What's wrong with me?" Am I correct? Again, I'm projecting. I don't want to.
I guess no, you're so if before I went on Big Brother, yes. Then I went on Big Brother and I popped my Christian bubble and I started hanging out with people from everywhere.
Was that
that
like the
did everything.
catalyst? Was
It was.
meeting these different people? Oh,
Yep.
wow. Okay.
Being
Oh, that's the best
open.
deconstruction story.
I know, isn't that crazy? So that's
Oh,
really what
pretty fun.
started triggering it. And so then when I got back and we're doing this counseling and whatnot, I'm like, it's not me. You're pissing me. Don't get me wrong. I did so many bad things and I did so
Mhm,
many things wrong, blah, blah, blah.
mhm.
But like these specific things. And I would tell them that it hurt and nobody cared because if you waited till marriage, it's going to be perfect. So you're doing something wrong. I spent going to the gynecologist for 5 years of my marriage trying to figure out why the hell it hurt.
Yeah,
And then, so when I was about to leave my husband, I literally told my pastor, I said, hey, I'm never having sex with my husband again. It hurts too much. Should I stay married or should I leave him? Because I wouldn't wish a sexless life on someone who wants sex.
that's
I
fair.
on my worst enemy, you know, I wouldn't
Yeah,
wish that on anyone. So,
yeah.
and I wanted sex, damn it.
You're like,
So,
I really want
or
to, just
myself.
not
Yeah. So, I asked him, I said, is it better if I stay? And he goes, yeah, that's your husband's cross to bear to never have sex again. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And that's
I
when I was like,
mean,
what?
Christian wise, they're kind of right? I mean,
They
Jesus
are.
was very anti-divorce. Like
Yes.
Jesus did change a lot of things and a lot of narratives, but he really hated that divorce. Um, that
Yeah, they
guy.
told me I'd be ixnayed and I was.
That's
Everyone
so
from the
weird from
church
a
stopped talking to
non-denominational
me.
church to have
Yes.
like an excommunication value based around divorce. That's sorry. Non-denominational churches are very akin to Baptists. They're like Baptists with
Yeah.
a new shiny cleaning look. But at least in the couple churches, I probably went to like 3 different non-denominational churches in my youth, and none of them had any kind of problems with divorce. Like the pastor at the main one that I went to, he was a divorcee. And like
Wow.
they never preached against that because it's a very like they want to be modern. They still again against the gays. They're the same ones who sent
Yeah.
me to conversion therapy, but they were like,
Oh.
"We're cool, we're hip, we are fine if you get a divorce." Um, so that's interesting. I haven't ever heard them being so strict about that. So
Yeah, and it
were
was a young
you?
church.
Was it
We were all young.
really? See, this is
My
so
pastor was
interesting.
like
This was in
28 when I
Arizona
got divorced.
still.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so you go to Big Brother. Are you still in the relationship at this point, or did you divorce before going on the show?
No, I
You're still with
definitely
him.
didn't believe in divorce. So
Oh yeah.
I
Okay.
I was definitely in it to win it, and the marriage. But that's the thing too is like when I was on Big Brother, I started cuddling with one of the hot guys, right?
It was very
And
hot. If you
he's
want to
hotter in
slip him my
person.
number, I'm not against it.
And the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand is that my ex-husband did have trauma in his childhood that is completely valid. He wouldn't go to therapy for that, or he wouldn't be honest through therapy. So our physical touch was non-existent unless we were having sex. I don't know, it's hard to explain. So then there is this guy on Big Brother that loves physical touch. That's my love language. And not
Mm,
even in like a sexual way. Like my mom grew up, she'd
yeah.
tickle all of our arms, we're huggers. I still kiss my mom on the mouth, it's just things like that. So I had this guy, it doesn't even matter what he looked like, that was touching me how I had always
Just being
like desired
close,
to be
just
touched.
being
Yeah.
person to person with you. Yeah.
Yes, and it
That makes sense.
was literally like a drug. It was, like, intoxicating, and I didn't even know that was a thing because my husband was also my first boyfriend. So I had never
Oh.
had
Oh.
this stuff before. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people don't realize too, is they're like, "Man, she's such a whore. She started cuddling this guy." First of all, I didn't even ever kiss him. I didn't ever get to see his thing. There's a lot of regrets. Just kidding. I didn't even do anything. I just freaking cuddled the dude. But
Yeah.
that is a big reason why is because I grew up. I mean, my husband didn't touch me and it hurt when I
Yeah.
had sex. Everything was terrible. And so I never got wet. once with my ex-husband, and
Well, I
so
mean, that
it's just
sounds
like,
like the problem for sure.
yeah, and
Foreplay is
he was,
important.
yeah, he was not my cup
Make
of
sure
tea
that we
either,
have some.
but
Um,
oh,
no, but
that's
okay,
the thing
so
too. I
go
only
ahead.
married my ex-husband because I thought I heard Jesus tell me that, just so you know. So I thought God told me to marry him, and that's the only reason I married him. I wasn't even that attracted to him or anything. He was just my best
Wait,
friend
did
since I was
you think
14.
that, or is it like the classic guy in a youth group who comes up to you and was like, "God told me that we were meant to be together because he
Oh
thought you're
God,
hot."
yeah, no, that
It
was
was
me.
you.
It was me.
Oh,
I was
you
blow
are
drying
the
my hair one
sexual
day, and I was like,
one.
God, that is probably why I
Every
was so
guy
sexually
in youth
frustrated.
groups across America knows that move.
That is so true, and that was my move. That's funny.
Flipping the narrative. I love that. So,
Yes.
okay. So wait, here you are in Big Brother, and I well, the fun part is you don't have communication, but I assume your
Yeah.
husband's watching this in real
And
time.
all my family and my church.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's watching it.
Whale.
So that wasn't good.
No.
At one point too, he punched something and broke his hand, and I found that out when I got back and stuff. And yeah,
As a
he
reaction to the
was,
show? Oh.
yeah, as a reaction to me cuddling Cody. Yeah,
Oh. Okay.
so it was pretty bad. But yeah, it was not good. So I'm still reeling from that. People still judge me for that, which is so annoying. And I'm just like,
I bet.
ew, it's a reality show. I didn't even actually cheat. And
And it's
that's
been
actually my
like
biggest regret.
almost what, like 10 years now? Where are we at? 5 years?
Almost.
8?
It's 9 years.
9 years. Yeah, so, like,
Yeah.
leave me alone.
Leave me
That was yeah,
alone.
I get that.
Ooh.
So when you're meeting this let's talk about the deconstruction part now. When you're meeting these other people, like, what was it that started sending light bulbs off in your brain that you're like, "Wait, maybe there's world outside of my bubble." Outside of, like,
Outside.
the sexual husband thing, but, like, what about the other people in the house made you think, like, "Wait."
So actually I was on Big Brother 16, and I'm very good friends with Spencer from Big Brother 15, Big Brother 15. And he is one of the people I credit the most for me actually leaving my husband and starting to look outside the box. I was he felt like one of the only few people I could be really honest with
Mhm.
about my marriage and whatever, and he was a big catalyst for me finally leaving my husband. And then I left my husband. The church kicked me out. I found a different church. But then, truly, the biggest thing that made me start deconstructing was reading the Bible front to back on
Oh,
my
well,
own.
that'll do
And
it.
that's when I said, first of all, for me, this doesn't seem very realistic. And second of all, the character of God, who is unchanging, in the first couple books, I was like, I don't like that at all. Like, women are getting raped, but he's not defending the rapist, but not letting people hurt the rapist. I don't know. It was just too many
Yeah.
things that I personally saw that I was like, even if, let's say, this is real, I don't want to be a part of this God. That's what
Yeah.
started happening.
That's fair. And I also just because I have such a mixed audience, I just want to make a
Yeah.
disclaimer there too. Like, it's fine if you're still Christian. It's fine if you're wherever you're at in your belief system. This isn't like a proselytizing kind of show. But for you, I definitely been there. When you really like actually, I think because it's so interesting when people haven't gone outside of the walls of their church, it doesn't matter really what doctrine you follow or what dogma. Um, they don't tell you everything. Like, there's never
Yes.
like, well, I mean, maybe in some places there are, let's start at the beginning and go through the entire Bible for 5 years kind of programs. But it's usually like what sounds relevant this week. Like right now, it's March, so we're gonna tell a story from the book of Esther for X and Y
Yes.
reasons, but it's always gonna be select stories because like that's how you make a sermon. No one's gonna want all the begats as a sermon. No one's gonna want to hear about all the Levite laws that are no longer applicable as its own
Yeah.
sermon. So people get this image and this understanding that comes from another person and solely comes from the actual book until you take it upon yourself to read the book. And I think that's all, what's the famous phrase? The road to atheism is paved with Bibles. Or
Wow, I love that.
yeah, I think I'm saying
Yeah.
it a little bit wrong, but that's basically what it is so many people have been like, I actually read and started researching for myself and then realized,
Mhm.
wait. And I think that's important because even if you read it and stay Christian, I think that's important for devotion because then you know
Yes.
that this is what you want. And I think it's
Yes.
very bizarre to me, and it's always made me question people's, I don't want to say truthfulness, but it always makes me question people's life choices. Like, you're choosing this as a identity more than a belief, unless you're doing all the research, all the reading. Like, if you literally think you're going to hell, you should read the entire Bible.
You
If
should
you
probably
really
read
think you're
it.
going to
Yeah.
hell for eternity, you better make sure you're
Yes.
right. You better make sure that you're doing every single thing that book says. Um yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And
So
that's
it's
something too,
go
is if no matter what religion you are, if you have read your whole book and you still choose that religion, I am like, get it,
go
baby.
for it.
That,
Yeah, no
yeah,
judgment.
sounds great. But if you pick a religion and you haven't even read the Bible, for me, it's very hard for me to respect that. So
Mhm.
I just like, how do you believe something you've never even read? But if you've read it, like my dad read it front to back. I mean, my whole family has,
Yeah,
multiple times, and I'm like, go for it. I'm not, it's just not for me.
right, right.
Yeah.
So this was after you're out of the house then, and then you were working with Spencer to I guess get through the hoop of divorce, getting past that
Yes.
mental block so that you can be happy. So how did that happen? Like, was there like a moment where you just like grab everything and run, or
Mhm.
what was your like big push to be like, I need to do this for myself?
So he actually started seeing another woman.
Mm.
Um, and I was like, "Hey, I think you're seeing this other woman." And he goes, "Or I think you like her." That's what I started saying. He goes, "Yeah, I do." No, okay. And then we tried for another 6 months. But
Mm.
I hadn't loved him for years.
Yeah.
And I was just staying cuz I was Christian. And honestly, at one point I was hoping that him seeing this other woman, he would finally leave me. I don't know why they didn't, but he didn't. And so eventually I was like, "Okay, now you're going on dates with this woman, like I'm leaving you." And then
Okay,
of course,
fair.
so I was a terrible human in the church,
The
and
harlot. How
yeah,
dare
I'm the
her?
harlot. God, and God,
It's
and then
insane.
it's crazy. And they are I told him I was leaving him. The pastor gave him money to start buying me flowers, take me out to dinner. He couldn't hold a job. I don't care if the pastor's paying. I want a man,
Wait,
like
wait, what?
a
Okay,
person.
so the pastor was essentially trying to bribe you through him to stay. He's like, "This is what you need to do. This is how you talk to her." Like, he was trying
Yes,
to
yeah,
manipulate
yeah.
him, and he was using his money and his resources as a bribe to you to stay in this relationship.
I've never thought of it that way, but yes, that is what it seems like.
You need to unpack that. Now that you've thought about that, you have to realize that we have some work to do because what the hell?
Oh my god, I've never
That
even
is
thought
so
of it
messed
that way.
up.
It's actually
It
exactly what happened.
it's
Yeah.
crazy because like I had Johanna James on a couple episodes ago, and it was a very similar situation where she was in a sexless marriage. She got married, first boyfriend out, and he was cheating on her with a whole slew of women, and she called him out on it, and the church was still like, you gotta stay. And as soon as she did
Yes.
leave, she was the one who's excommunicated. Her friends all went
Yes.
to him, like the cheater, and then they started all these rumors being like, oh my god, she only left him because she wants to sleep with other people. She was like, for 2 years he was cheating on me, but as soon as I leave, it's, oh wow, what a slut. I can't believe it.
Yep.
And it's so crazy how internalized the misogyny is, and like
Oh
it rolls
god.
back to what you were saying, like it's your fault, it's
Mhm.
your job to keep him happy, and like no
Yeah.
matter what it is, it comes down to the women being submissive, and even when you're leaving, it's an act of not being submissive, and it's just so
It's
insidious
so
that
true.
it roles.
Yeah, it doesn't end.
Ugh.
And I was still having sex with him. It was so painful. I would still have sex with him 3 times a week. I'd cry in the bathtub
Oh
afterwards,
no.
and it's like nobody cared. Nobody
Oh
cared.
no.
Oh god,
I'm
it was so
sorry. I care
frustrating.
now.
Thank you. Yeah, now, thank you.
Okay. Well, you're out of this now. What do you do? What's the first thing you do? You're like, okay, I'm a free woman.
Oh, well, okay. So actually I did turn into a whore when I got divorced and was still
Fair.
Christian. And I wear that proudly. I'm not saying it as a bad thing. Cuz here's what happened. I even told my mom this. I said, "Sex is excruciatingly painful for me. I am going to try and have sex with someone else, and if it hurts, I'm going to literally like look for a man who's asexual or whose penis fell off or something." I literally was like, I'm gonna find someone and we're gonna have an amazing life without sex.
Yeah.
So I thought that, but then I had sex and it was incredible. And I was like, oh my, I haven't so my first time having real sex was when I was 25 years old, honestly. And I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, this is everything I dreamed that it was. So
Amazing.
then, after that, I have so many health issues. I'm in pain 24/7, and it's like for me, one of my few outlets where I don't feel my pain is during sex. And
Really?
so I yes, and so I
Okay.
am it's so big for me even for that too. And so I
It's like a
just
nervous
went
system
hard in the paint.
distraction.
Yes,
I love that.
it is. It is amazing.
Jealous.
It's insane. I
I'm staring at
know.
you in asexual like, well, that's the
How?
coolest thing.
What?
Yeah, I'm over here on my temporary disability being like, huh, maybe I need to force my attractions.
I'm sure it doesn't work the same for everybody.
That's amazing though. No,
But
so
yeah.
finally you're free and you're like, I'm not broken in this specific way. I'm
Yes.
not broken.
Yes.
Um, how does
Mhm.
that I'm sure that influences your life, that now gives you hope in a way, like it gives you a new direction. What do you do?
Absolutely.
What do you do
So
with it?
I started having a lot of fun Tinder dates
Yeah.
and I had some new boyfriends, and what's so funny, I went from this girl that was like, "Oh my god, anyone who has sex before marriage is terrible human being. They're so nasty." And now I am a huge advocate for anti-purity culture because
Yes.
I've just
Yes,
seen it in me and so many other people. It's not that serious.
Mm-mm.
It's so
Mm-mm.
frustrating. So yeah,
Focusing
I
on the
mean,
wrong thing. That's the
yes,
issue. People are always focused on like, well, again, purity, but like you need to be focused on fun and safety and
safety.
respect and
Oh,
consent.
yes.
Like if you are with somebody and you are having fun, that's the goal. Like it should not
Mhm.
be, oh my God, make sure to keep your body count low or like don't be touched until marriage. Like the damage that does because you're so focused on not being a slut, you actually
Mhm.
damage your body and your relationships and your spirit. Like it's so bad. Like again,
It's so bad.
insidious is the word there. Like
Yeah.
not even getting into the shame part of it. Like that's without the shame. Like
That's
it
oh my
actually
god.
just affects your personal relationships to people you're not even partners with. Like purity culture messes so much up.
Absolutely.
I do
And
want to
and
take
then
a
if you do mess up, you're shamed and it's disgusting, but continue. And
the
you feel the shame.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where the next part of that starts. I do want to take a quick second because I know some kid who draws was earlier saying that they have a question. If you can drop that in the chat real quick, because you're saying that you have to go and you won't be here for the
Oh.
Q&A. We'll try to get to that question before you leave, some kid. And then we're gonna keep on talking. Okay,
Perfect.
so hoard it up. Yay, love it.
Yeah.
You're still Christian at this point, even
Yes.
though you're excommunicated and you're in a new church.
Yes.
Um, now what? What's the next
Now
step? Tell me.
now what happens is I keep having fights with my family about, oh, because now I'm divorced. This is what triggered the biggest fight. So now I'm
Ooh,
divorced,
yes.
and my mom is still against gay marriage. And that has always been something that really pisses me off. So that's something I've always fought her on. And I told her, I said, Mom, the Bible says you can't come to my second wedding if I ever get married again. Like, as a divorced woman, I can't get married again, and you can't come. And I said, I get it. It's your conviction. You're not allowed to come. And she lost her shit. She was like, what? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, would you go to a gay wedding? She goes, no, that's against my conviction. And I said, see, I'm not going to put you in a place to bother your faith, and that started a huge blow up with me and my mom. And then my dad had to get involved because my mom was very distraught. So that being said, that is when I started reading the Bible front to back, because I
Okay.
was like, I need more verbiage. I need more power to use against them. So I didn't go into it thinking I'd turn an atheist. I just want to know the Bible better
Yeah.
to combat certain things.
Mhm.
And then I started reading the Bible. And then that's kind of what triggered it. So I didn't figure out I was atheist till I was 28. Or that's when I
Okay.
became atheist. I don't know how that works. Yeah.
You were born that way, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what the question I want to get to is at. So, because I know we only have like an hour, or the goal is only like an hour, I really want to get into your current relationship and finding somebody who is like a positive benefit to your life as compared to
Mm.
the marriage that was like a cage. Like, I want to hear about that difference in how you feel and how you respect yourself and how you look at your life now.
Yeah. I cannot explain how different my life is now, in the sense of, so I was dating my current husband for 3 months when I came out atheist, and he was Christian. I
Okay.
wouldn't date anyone that wasn't Christian.
Because you're a Christian too. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Got
so I told him and I said, you do not have to change. Like, I'm okay being differently yoked in this
it.
relationship."
Well, the atheist always is. It's always the Christian person who's like,
Yeah.
"Can I date an atheist?" Yeah.
And that is what, like, I mean, he really almost left me.
Oh
And
no.
then I actually not really sure why he stayed, but he stayed. And then he would start asking me questions. He had never read the Bible, but he would start asking me questions, and I never once tried to stop him from believing. I would just answer his questions. And
Yeah.
then about a year and a half later, his son is like 4 or 5 at this point, and his son loves fingernail polish, pink, glitter, anything that goes against gender stereotypes.
Yeah.
And he started thinking, he was like, these people are saying, you need to put your boy in boy clothes and all this stuff. And he
Toughen
really
him
was
up.
like, ugh. Oh my God, yeah, he's so sensitive, it's sweet. And so my husband, who is like a Air Force, military guy, was like, excuse me, no one's gonna tell me my son isn't perfect. And he
Ooh,
realized
love that.
it was Christianity that was telling him his son wasn't perfect. And he was like, I do not ever want my son to feel less than, that who he is anything less than amazing. And that is when he changed, which was very beautiful to watch.
Okay, this is
And
actually a good
yeah,
segue. Let me pause you right there so we can get to some
yeah.
kid's question. So,
Oh,
some kid says, "How do I come out to my Christian mom who
oof,
is against LGBTQ people and they say that they are bisexual?" So, this is I don't want to say it's a loaded question, but it's a complicated question. Firstly, I think
mm,
it depends on how old you are.
yeah,
I always, always, always stress that I am so happy for you that you've recognized where you're at and like what your sexuality is. And that could be at any age, but I do want to make sure that you have a way to be on your own. So if
yeah,
you are 16 and up and you have a job and you, or at least have somewhere to stay, like maybe you have a separated parent and you know your dad would be okay with it, then maybe, yeah, you can start thinking about coming out and just kind of seeing what happens with her reaction. But if you are not in a place where you can take care of yourself, I don't recommend it. I think that
yeah,
if you know your mom is strongly against any kind of queerness, I'm not saying to hide it, still be yourself, be open, but you don't have to tell her about partners or attraction. You can date on the down low, not bring them home. And it sucks, but your safety is more important. People get kicked out and have to be homeless for this. People get harmed for this. So I just want to make sure that that's what you're thinking of first. And then when you really do feel like you're at a place when you think she needs to know this information because she needs to see the real you, start doing it in slow, I guess, ways would be my recommendation. I would just like float the idea, like, my friend's bisexual and her parents are pretty accepting of it. I was wondering, like, what would you do if I came to you one day? Like, just kind of gauge the conversation. And then at some point, you're just going to rip the Band-Aid off. And sometimes that happens at like college when like you're already out of the house and you haven't even told them yet, but you've been dating someone for 2 years and you're like, by the way, Christmas, I'm bringing my boyfriend or whatever it may be. And then just ta-da, gay. Everyone has a personal journey, so it's really hard for me to say. It really is. But I just want you to know that you'll be okay and you'll figure it out. And also, it's not the most important thing that your parents know. I understand people wanting to like have their parents know them because that is you and that is who you are. And of course, you want your parents to know and understand and accept. But at the same time, it's your sex life. You're not going to tell them every time you have sex. You're not going to tell them, like, it only really is important when it's about, this is who I love. We're building a family. I need you to be in my life in case we adopt kids kind of things. But up until that, they don't need to know. I don't care. But do what's right for you and be safe. Okay. Rant over.
That was a good rant.
Was that good? Do you have anything to add to that? Sorry.
I didn't come out to my mom as atheist, until like a year and a half after. And it's definitely once you leave the house, I feel like is probably a good idea, which is so sad. And it breaks my heart because
it really is.
I don't do well with that. But yes. And find a community. Honey, I didn't have friends when I got kicked out of the church for getting divorced. I had to restart all over again. And
community.
I did. And now my life rocks.
Huge. Yes.
Yes. It's huge.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And like, as we've always said in the gay tradition, we have our family, but we have our chosen family because it's better now. It's going down again, but it's better now because, we've been mainstream, I guess, but especially, back in the 80s and 90s, like going no contact was very much the reality for most gay people. And we all had to make our own little families just to survive, whether that's in like, the underground ballroom scene with houses, or even like when I moved to LA, I didn't have my family. I got right out of there when I was 18, bolted to LA, and I just had to make my own family when I got there,
Wow.
And like, you will have support. Just make sure that, again, you're self-sufficient. I don't want anyone 14 and starving on the streets.
I know. Or in a bad home situation if they are left there.
Okay, so let's go back to your husband has this realization too. And that's the other thing. You might be surprised. When you start floating these things, you might be surprised. Your mom might hate gay people, but not you. They might not realize that the person that they hate or the person they think they hate is you. And they'll be like, oh, I could never hate my kid. And that's what Christine was saying her husband went through, basically, is like, sure, in this idea of things, okay, those people, but as soon as those people are yours, they're your literal children, you start looking at things different, I think. Hopefully.
Hopefully. And also that's one of my biggest pet peeves too, actually, is in the religious community, how they'll be against everything until it happens to them. And then they're like, oh my God, you're right. This isn't as bad. That shouldn't need to happen.
You could have started there. You could have empathized from the beginning.
Yes. Oh, it drives me mad. But yes. Luckily, my husband was never against pink or gay or anything. You know what
Otherwise,
I mean?
it wouldn't have happened originally.
Oh yeah. But then when people were talking to him, he was like, saying stuff about his kid. He's like, oh, watch your back. Like, no way, Jose.
And your son is rad. I would die for your son. I love him. I live for your stories.
Sweet. He is he is hilarious. And he just got a gift card for his birthday. What did he buy at the store? This pink fluffy TY doll and a pink strawberry fuzzy journal. It's just like, I love when he gets to buy what he wants and you get to see what that is. But what's interesting too is my stepson has actually changed my mom a lot.
Really?
Because she saw, I'm not girly at all. Like, I don't wear pink. That's just not me.
Yeah.
And neither is his bio mom. And my mom saw this kid who was obsessed with her jewelry, her nail polish, her glitter, everything. And that's when she was like, maybe people are born this way. And like,
The
yeah,
3-year-old is coming
no
out like, I
shit.
need my nails.
Yeah,
And she's
exactly.
like, how do they even know what nail polish is? Okay. Yeah.
Like, wait a second. So she would never. Now, the amazing part about my family now, except for my sister, is if anybody came out gay in this family, nobody would treat anybody different. So
Good. I love
that's
that.
yes, thank
I love
goodness.
that.
I've gone through hell and back to get these people here, but
That's the
yeah.
thing. Kids have to
Ugh,
raise our parents sometime. I've trained my mother
very
over the
true.
years in so many different ways. Like when I came out, it was very much, conversion therapy, this and that.
Oh,
And when I was a kid, when I was really little, I mean, my favorite thing to do when my dad wasn't home is to like put on her dress and heels and run around when I was like 5, little genderqueer me. And my dad found out once, and that was a fight. Oh God, that was a fight. So like the way that
really?
you're raising your stepson now is like so healing to me, just because
Mm,
my mom, while she was okay with it, she'd let me borrow the heels. She folded under that pressure.
mm.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I
And
hate that.
then
Yeah.
for the next 10 years until I found out I was attracted to men or something, it was very in my head and very like, you know, just not free to just be a kid, and I wasn't just playing the
Yes.
way I wanted to play, and everything felt like a battle of, are they gonna get mad if I do this? So
Ugh.
it's healing my inner child to see you and parents like you just being like, wear the pink fucking shirt.
Yeah, who cares?
It's a
Oh my
shirt.
god, who cares? Yeah. I know, he picked out pink sparkly JoJo shoes, and it's like, who cares? Because they're not all of his family is super supportive, let me put it that way. So, this
Yes, I've
poor kid is
heard the
going through
bio
that
mom is
too.
kind of a I'm not
Hmm.
gonna put you on record saying it because I don't know if there's ever gonna be a custody battle or something,
I
but
know.
I've heard from somebody
Oh,
else, not
yes,
Christine.
not
I've
me,
heard
I
from
never
somebody
said anything.
else that she's a little bit of a brr. Um, and then okay, where are we at? So how are you? I guess we only have like 10 minutes left, really, until we can wrap. So I want to get to some questions. Everyone, get your
Mhm.
questions ready. Super chat them. Put them in there. Let me put them on screen. Again, I don't know how people ask for super chats. I'm new to this monetization thing, but you don't have to.
Oh, I don't even know what that is, but it
It's
sounds
like they
great.
give you a tip, like, hey, thank you.
Oh, cool, okay.
But it's cool when there's like bigger lives, because then if you have 1,000 people chatting, it's like it
Yeah, that
highlights
helps.
and has a timer. Like, so the bigger the donation, the longer it stays up.
Wow, fascinating.
um, what was I gonna say? Oh, so I wanted to, what has been your biggest tool in getting over the things from your past? Has it been therapy? Has it really just been like having a solid relationship with your now husband? Or has it been rebuilding those bridges with your mom? What would you
Therapy.
say? Has it been therapy?
Yeah, no, truly therapy, and the fact that I went through my circumstance is different because I went on Big Brother. I was so hated. I made my biggest mistake in front of all of America.
Yeah,
A lot of people can
that's
make
hard.
their mistakes in a closet. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and so it was for all to air, and I realized at a younger age than a lot of people that I don't give a fuck what you think about me. I don't care.
I just
So,
posted a TikTok saying that today.
did you?
Yes.
Good. Living
Somebody
your best
commented
life.
on something, totally like a dumb video, and they're like, "Nobody likes you." And
First of all, lies. But anyway.
first of all, yeah, I was like, I have 250,000 followers, you have
Yeah.
75. Let's ignore that. Say that doesn't exist. I don't care. I don't need
Yes.
you to like me. I never asked you to like me. I don't know who the hell you
Mhm.
are, but like if I had 0 friends in real life, I like me and I'm chilling.
Yes.
Like I'm just having fun and I don't care.
I
Oh
don't
no.
care. I my favorite the quote that I use the most is the Family Guy, like, "Oh my god, who the hell cares?" Like, that is what I think all the time. And
Yes.
therapy, though. Again, can't suggest therapy enough.
I need to get in therapy. Just I haven't
You
because
do.
I'm
Everyone has
terrible.
to.
Everyone has to. And that's the thing. You don't know what kind of religious trauma you're bringing around until you really start staring at it.
Oh, yeah.
But like you still have you still have your family in your life outside of your sister.
Yes.
So I think that's interesting. I think that's good progression. Not saying that
Yes.
everyone needs to. Again, no
Right.
contact can be healthy. Um, but it's good, I think, and like we touched on it before the show too, like even with your dubious choices, your mom is not like hiding you from or just like not talking to you. And I think that's growth on her part, especially if she started in a cult, you know?
I think so too because I do OF. I'm in an open marriage actually, and she knows it, and all these things. And she'll ask questions, and every time I go, "Mom, I don't think you want to know the answer, but I will tell you if you want to know." And she'll say it again. I say, "Okay, here we go." And she still loves me. So
That's
that is
great.
huge growth on her. She still loves me like the day I was born. So
I love
that's
that.
nice.
So we're
I
gonna
got
see where that
lucky.
goes in the future. I'm excited to see like I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. There's gonna be a new thing sometime in your life. I'm excited to hear how she starts from the very beginning with that information. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is, but that's my prediction. There's gonna be some kind of milestone where you're like, back in the past, she would have freaked out, and now it's like, oh, that's okay. Everyone's
Yeah.
different. So I think that's gonna be fun.
Mm,
But I love you so much, and I love your story
I
so
love
much, and I feel
you.
like we could probably
Yeah.
even get way more into it. If you ever wanna come back, welcome anytime. Let's get into the question and answer portion so I don't hold everyone for more than an hour. Does anybody have a question for me, for Christine, about anything that she brought up, about I guess even like, coming out advice? You can ask whatever. If you saw a TikTok about Galatians 3, whatever you want to ask, now's your time. I want to find like more ways or like polls during like interactive things during the episode, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet. And since
I
I
know, I
produce
think you'd
everything
need
on my
help.
own, I
Yeah,
don't yeah, I
exactly.
need a
You'd have to have
producer.
someone else.
I need someone
That's
to press
fun.
a button that goes "Bow, bow, 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 bow," anytime we say a keyword. I
Oh,
actually
that
don't
would
like
be
when people
awesome.
do that, unless it's a drinking show, and
What?
then it makes sense. Wait, what?
A drinking show?
People who like drink while they're hanging out on podcast and like
Oh,
anytime you
yeah.
say the word stuff, you have to drink like that the sound makes sense for that. But
Oh, yeah.
people who
Oh,
just
I
do
was just
the
thinking
out of nowhere, I'm like, why?
That's so funny to me. I like it.
Oh, I'm not seeing any questions, y'all. Is this mean you don't like me? What does this mean?
Do
Ada
you like
says by
myself?
some kid who likes to draw. How's your relationship? Oh, how's your relationship with the Bible now, Christine?
That's a good question. I don't like it. Let me put
Hmm.
it for me, it is a um a fictional book that exists, but I do not like that it causes pain to others. So it is hard for me to have a nice relationship with it because I've seen firsthand how it has hurt people. So
Yeah.
for me, not my cup of tea.
Yeah, that's
Can't
understandable.
do it.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's caused people ask why I hate Paul and why I talk about Paul all the time on my channel,
I
and I'm like, because
I
without
love it.
Paul, I'm like, without
So good.
Paul, there would be no evangelicalism. Like, literally, Jesus was like, keep it in your homes, keep it a secret, like. Don't
Oh,
build a
so true.
church. Don't make it an institution. And Paul shows up and is like, "We're putting a church on every mountain," and like, this is all his fault.
That is so true. I love that. I love
Right?
that view.
Uh, there's something else I wanted to highlight. It wasn't necessarily a question. Where did it go? Oh, I also wanted to put this one on screen. So coming out to parents can sometimes change their views. This is just for anybody in the internet world. I think some kid is gone, but my mom went from "I'd rather my child be dead than gay" to being my biggest supporter. But I had lots of
Wow.
support from my sisters or her sisters. And yeah, that's the thing is like it can change as
Wow.
soon as they realize, especially if they realize like the options are life and death, because there's
Yeah,
so many trans
that's real.
and gay kids who want to end their life. And once it's positioned to them like that, would you rather have a dead kid or would you rather have a gay kid? Hopefully, the choice is usually a lot more obvious when there's stakes,
Yes.
you know?
That's actually something I'm proud of you, Bart. That's amazing. And that's actually something that helped my mom open her eyes too. I was like, you're voting for things that are causing people to kill themselves, quite frankly, point A. And that's
Yeah.
when she was really like, oh my gosh, you're right. That's really jacked up. So sad.
Okay, wait, I want to highlight this one. A lot of pastors are ignorant narcissists who know nothing about the Bible and just throw their own self-serving nonsense. A lot of them are. This is fact.
Yes.
So when I throw up JeGaysus, they sit in stunned silence, and it gives me
Gives me
joy.
joy.
How are you throwing up JeGaysus? Are you just like putting my
What does that
profile
mean?
like on the church walls and be like, this is JeGaysus?
Oh, I love it
Whatever it
so
means, I love
much.
it. It's a vibe.
Me too.
Thank you. You're appreciated.
Ooh.
And then also, though, less fun. My pastor told me to stay in a domestic violence relationship. He was dangerous with a history against several women, and the Bible never told a woman to stay in that circumstance.
So true.
Right
So
there.
true.
Right there. The
Yep.
one way that you can leave a man in the Bible is if they are abusive. And
Yeah.
the fact that these pastors are out here pushing
Their own
like
agenda? I don't even
a
know.
legal piece of paper over your safety is ridiculous.
Oof. Oh,
Always call them out on that because,
oh.
like, no.
Do not even. Yeah. The state. Oh, I signed a paper and paid the state $80. Now I'm stuck. That correlation. Ugh, I can't stand it.
Like, since when does God care about paperwork? I don't get it.
Yes, exactly.
Jesus.
Oh God, it drives me nuts.
Hi from England. I just wanted to say
Ooh,
hi.
cool.
Hi. I find it so interesting when I see like viewership from out of the country. I guess
That's
England
awesome.
makes sense because like you speak English there, so that's not like the craziest one. But like, there's sometimes I'll get like Icelandic, and I'm like, what?
Oh, that's
I know
really
people in
cool.
Iceland. Hook it up. That's my dream
Hook
trip.
it up.
Yeah, I want to go visit. I want to sleep at your house.
Heck
Um,
yeah.
and then I think we're pretty much out. I'm just like scrolling backwards just to like highlight some people's comments. I recently turned my 20-year-old son onto JeGaysus because he has a lot of religious questions. Thanks for everything, honestly. Thank you, Bobby. I'm glad. I don't know if I have the right answers, but that's not what I ever pushed for. Hopefully. I just pushed for like, raising questions, critical
Yes.
thinking, and then hopefully they can go do their own research. So
I think
yeah.
you are helping a lot of people with not even deconstructing, but thinking and figuring things out and healing their inner child and things like that with raising questions and seeing things differently. So that's one of the reasons I love you.
That's the
Yeah,
goal. Thank you. So I'm glad to hear it's coming
it's
across.
working.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that takes us to the end of our episode. So let me go ahead and just like do a roll credits. Where can people find you? Are you working on anything next? Do you have a project that you want them to know about? Go ahead and plug all of your things.
My name is Meanie Christini, absolutely everywhere. Mean Y Christine Y. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram,
It's
OF,
all in
all of
the
it.
description as well. I already put all of them
Oh,
up. So
perfect. You're a hero. I am not really doing anything new. I started my own mental health coaching business actually. So if you want to email
oh,
me or contact me, I do mental health coaching. I have a couple clients right now, and they're all via telehealth. So you can be anywhere,
awesome.
anytime we can create something. And so, yeah, if you even just need someone to talk to or whatever, always reach out to me, please. I love people and I love helping people.
That's rad. I love it.
Yes.
And then yeah, for me, you can follow me right here. People who are watching this probably know me, but yeah. JeGaysus, also on all the things, just JeGaysus, and you can find my link tree in my bio and or in the description that you're reading. If you're in the podcast realm, which again, I only have like 20 podcast listeners right now because I think I talk about the live part of the show so much more than I talk about the audio. But there's like
Mm,
an audio podcast if you really hate being here, you can't like stand YouTube's format. I don't know, whatever reasons. I only listen to podcasts audio form. So like I never show up to my
yeah,
friends' lives. I feel so bad. But the ones who put them up on Spotify,
me
I
too.
catch up. So I get it. I get it. That's why I put them up there. Yeah, so rate that, comment, because the algorithm over there is much more confusing than YouTube. I don't understand how podcast algorithms even do anything. And I will be here again next week with a guest to be announced. We don't know. It's always going to be exciting and last minute. Again, I just have that Patreon that's pretty new. If you have any ideas for like perks you'd want to see on Patreon, if you're like, I would become a disciple for $5, but I would rather have a one-on-one call with you for $10 or something, like, let me know. I'm open to ideas. Or like, I know some people do stickers after you are 2 months in or something, little pins. I have no idea. I'm a newbie. Let me know what you want to see. And otherwise, you can join us currently for $5 a month in the Discord, or for $2 a month if you just want to like tip to support me. That's also helpful. And I shout you out in all the things that I can do. And I think that's the only like projects I have coming up. I'm gonna keep fighting transphobes on TikTok. That's what I've been doing this week.
Yes.
And probably get canceled there. But anyway, thank you everyone for hanging out. And Bart says, I like this format so I can look at beautiful faces.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bart. I love
Disciple
it.
Bart, we love
the person already. We love the fact that you call them disciples. I'm in love. Anyway, it cracks me up. Yes,
oh wait,
Disciple
until I
Bart,
find
I
like
love
a good perk, like a good perk that's worth like a $20 tier or something to like really get production stuff going. Like if I could ever think that like I could ask people for money like that, I'm gonna call it the patron saints.
I love it. I love it.
So we have the
Good.
disciples and then the patron saints.
Gorgeous.
Okay, too much of future. Anyways, goodbye, y'all. I love you. If you haven't yet,
Bye. Thank
like
you.
the stream so that it likes on the YouTube things. And I will see you around. You know where to find me. Okay, bye. And then I will talk
Bye.
to you in a second, Christine. We're just gonna end for them.
Yes.